Welcome to Ionic 2 tutorial. I am Jesh Lahare. This is chapter 4, video number 6. In this tutorial, we will learn about how to share data between different pages. If you are an Android developer, then you might be aware of sharing data or a object of a class between different activities, and you might be aware of set result method in Android where current activity passes some value or data to its previous or parent activity. So that scenario we will discuss in today's video. In today's session, we will learn how to integrate different components provided by Ionic 2 framework for sharing the data between number of pages. So we will be discussing about NavController, ModalController, ViewController, and providers. In Ionic 2, you can share data between pages using number of approaches, but these are the few approaches which I like to implement in my code. So let's concentrate on these 4 approaches. So let's create one sample project and let's get ready our UI. Let's create project. I'm calling it sharing sample and I'm using blank template. Okay, it looks like project is created. So let's go inside our sharing sample project and let's start this project in browser. Okay, it looks like our application is executed in browser. So let's see this view in some phone model. So let's see in Nexus 5X. And let's edit the code. Okay, here is the project sharing sample. Now let's see how we can implement navigation and how we can add some parameter to and call the another page. So let's clean our home.html page and let's remove this template text. So for sharing data, first let's put some input text and some buttons. Let's add some input type. And let's add button. I didn't created another page yet, but let's create let's assume we are going to add a dashboard page in our next step. So I'm writing here send data to dashboard and saving this HTML page. Okay, so this is the layout and here we can type some message and then we can send this message to another page. But let's create another page for testing purpose. So to add the page, we need to take the help of command prompt again, and I'm going to terminate this serve command. And to add another page, the command is Ionic generate page and page name. So let's use page name dashboard. Okay, it looks like page is added. So if you go to your project directory and you look into the pages directory, then you can see dashboard is over here, and in dashboard directory again there are 4 different files: HTML, TS TypeScript file, and SCS file. So this is our HTML and this is TypeScript. So this is added, but we have to make the entry of this dashboard page into the component directory. So for that, go to app and open app.module.ts, and here we have to import our newly added page. So you have to do this exercise every time when you add any page or any new page. So let's see what is the name of our new page. Dashboard. You can find new name over here in dashboard.ts, and the name is dashboard page. So we have to import this dashboard page in app.module.ts, and I will write import page from, and the syntax is it's allocated in pages directory, so I will use this one same, but path will be different this time. It is dashboard/dashboard. And after importing, we have to make the entry in declaration as well as in this entry component array. So let's add this new page, which is dashboard page. Because if you do not make this entry in module.ts, then it's not gonna work, because if you try to navigate to this dashboard page, then Ionic will throw some error and it will tell you that this component is not added in module yet. So we have to make the entry of dashboard page or any page over here. After making entry in app.module.ts, we have to copy this line, import dashboard, and paste it in app.component.ts. We just have to mention these import in this app.component.ts. That's it. Now let's see from home.ts how we can from our home page how we can call our next page. So first we will see that how we can navigate to another page, then next we will see that how we can pass the data. So let's create one method in home.ts file. So I will create one method, show simple load, and to call the next or to display the next page, the syntax is this dot NavController, which is which we have imported over here in constructor. So just copy this term, this dot NavController dot push, and page name. In our case, page name is dashboard. So it's not showing me like my editor is not showing me the name of our dashboard HTML, because we have not imported our dashboard page in home.html home page also. So let's copy our import from module.ts and paste it in home.ts. We have pasted it, but it's giving an error because the path is different. If we look our dashboard page from home.ts, here you can see that in pages directory home and dashboard are here. So we have to remove this pages, and error will go. Now we can import or we can push this dashboard page, and now you can see in suggestion box it's showing me dashboard page. Now let's save it and let's call this method on clicking of this send data to dashboard button. So I will copy this name, function name, and in home.html let's use click event. On click event let's call show simple load method and save it. So it's saved. Okay, it's saved, but our Ionic serve command is terminated. That's why it's not reflecting in our browser over here. So let's start Ionic serve command again. Okay, it's loaded now. So let's see whether it works. So here you can see I clicked on send data to dashboard button and it worked. It is showing me another page. So now let's see how we can pass some data from over here. If I type something, say hello, then how I can pass this hello text to this dashboard page. So for that, first let's make some binding in our home.html, because with the help of binding we can grab the data from our input control, which is input type, and then with that binding we will send that data to some method which we are using with the name show simple load. So let's bind this input text. To bind the text, the command is square bracket then small bracket, and over here you have to type Modal, and after that pound sign and control equal to Modal, and in Modal we have to give the name. So let's give the name, binding name I'm using message to send. So let's see whether the binding is done properly or not. For that I will print that model value over here. That's it, and let's save it. Now let's see in browser whether it's reflecting in a paragraph tag or not on typing some value in it. It's working. Now let's pass this value to that function. I'm deleting this because our purpose is done. Now let's pass this value to this function. Now we have to make some changes in this function also. So over here let's add one parameter, message to send, or let's say message, and to send the message we can use some let variable, or we can declare some variable with help of let. So let's pass this value as a key parameter. So I will use some key name. So let's say key name is text message, and the value is MESSAGE, which is a parameter of our function. And in push method, in NavController push method, the second parameter is our data, and we are done. So we have sent our data from home page to dashboard, but in dashboard we have not written any code which will be handling this data. So in dashboard, let's write some code. Let's go to home dashboard.ts, and in dashboard.ts you can see in constructor there is a nav parameter. So to retrieve the data, I will declare some variable over here, incoming message, and this dot incoming message equal to this dot NavParams dot get, and within get we have to pass the value of that key which we have passed from our home page. So the key name was text message, so this is the key, and we have retrieved the value of that key in this dot incoming message. Now let's bind this incoming message variable to some HTML page. So let's open dashboard.html, and over here in ion content let's write p incoming message, and over here let's use that variable incoming message. That's it. Now let's see whether it works or not. So this is our home page, and let's type something hello world. So I guess our code is not saved yet because we have removed this line, and it's still reflecting over here. So I'll press Ctrl S. Okay, now the code is changed. Let's type hello world and click on this. Oops, it looks like message is not arrived. So let's see what's the problem. It looks like our dashboard.ts file was not saved, so I press Ctrl S. Now let's try hello world. Let's click. Here we go. You can see that the value which I passed from home page, it's arrived on a dashboard with the help of NavParam. So if this value is not, or this parameter is not available in your constructor, then you have to import that in a header. The syntax is like this: import NavParam, and it's available in Ionic -Angular module. So we have seen one approach. Now let's see how we can implement the same thing using ModalController. So the ModalController is a approach in which if you want to send some data from one page to another, and vice versa. Like if you want two-way communication, if a page A want to pay some data to page B, and when page B is done and you want to send some data again to page A, then how we can implement that. So we will see that, and we will implement ModalController. So let's write the code. So ModalController comes with the Ionic Angular package itself. So we have to import over here, and here you can see it's available, ModalController. So if we are going to take the help of this, then we have to write this in constructor also we have to mention it over here, and let's mention it as a public model. Model is our variable or reference variable, and the type is ModalController. So I'm not deleting this code. Instead of deleting, let's create another button and another method, so it will be help you to see that how we can implement all the approaches in one TypeScript file. So I'm creating another button, and I'm creating another method called show modal load. Send data to dashboard using model. Let's create this function in TypeScript file. And let's keep the parameters same. It's accepting one parameter. So on UI you can see it has added two buttons, but it's looking a little bit awkward that this button is small and this one is big. So let's make it same size. So I will add one more term called full. So this will help me to create button full of parent size or parent container size. It's loading. Okay, we have two buttons. Now on second button we will navigate to another page using ModalController. So we have created this method. Now let's implement some code, and we have created one model and constructor. So the syntax is same. If you want to send the data, then first you have to prepare the data. So we have prepared the data and with some key name, its value, and to call the another page with some parameter, we have to create model. So this dot model dot create, and in create we have to pass two parameters. One is page name, which is dashboard, to which we are sending data, and second parameter is data again. So basically it's returning some value, so we have to assign it to some variable. So let's create one variable called modal control equal to this dot statement, and in modal control we have to write modal control dot present. That's it. So I will tell you that why I have created this variable, because you can call it this present method directly from here by typing dot present, but I'm not doing that. So I will tell you later on that why I did that. So let's save it, and now let's see how it works. So I'm passing the same key name and with the value, which is key name is text message, and this is my sending part, and on dashboard page I have already implemented my receiving part. So our receiving part is in dashboard.ts, and you can see over here our receiving part is NavParam.get key name. That's it. So let's see. Let's type hi from ModalController. here you can see the value is received. Now let's see how we can pass some value from dashboard to previous page, which is our home page, by using some button, or when our page is closed. So in dashboard, let's implement one button. Okay, I have created one button. Now let's create one input text control. And similarly, from our previous page, let's find this input text. I will call it return message to send. And on clicking of this button, I will use click event. Let's create one function called show previous page, and the parameter name return message to send. It's giving some error because here we have to write our function name in quotes, and we have to declare that variable, that function in TS file also. Okay, this is our second page. Now let's write business logic to send a message from dashboard to home. So for that, we need to take the help of ViewController, and for that we have to import that in dashboard.ts file. And it is ViewController is part of Ionic Angular library, so let's import in dashboard page and ViewController. When we import ViewController, we have to create the object, or whatever you can say, in constructor of this page. Public, I will call it ViewController. That's it. And this is our method. So in this method, we have to close our dashboard page, or this method will close this page, and at the same time it will send the data. So we have to create the data. So let's create data as I will call it return message, and the return message value is whatever I'm writing in text box. And here just call this dot view dot dismiss, and in bracket pass the parameter which is our data. So we are done from our dashboard page. So we have returned the value, but we have to write the receiver in our home page also. Here why it's giving error, let's remove it. So in home page, in TypeScript file of home page, we have to write the receiver. So for to write the receiver, we have to use the help, we have to take the help of ModalController. That's why I created this variable using let keyword. So here you have to write ModalController dot on dismiss, on did dismiss, and in dismiss it uses promise type object, so I will call it data. And in data I can print the value console dot log received data dot. Here I have to mention the key name. So the key name was return message. So I will type data dot return message, and we are done. Now let's see whether it works or not. Let's type video number 6 and set. So here from home we have sent the value. Now we have to send the value from dashboard to our previous page. So I will write hi from dashboard, and I will click this. So our previous page is loaded, and over here you can see I have received that value hi from dashboard. So we can print this value on HTML page also. So for that, let's create one variable, and let's bind that variable to some paragraph. So here I will declare return message, and initially I will make it this dot return message to blank, and when message is arrived, I will keep that message in this dot return message variable. Now let's bind this return message to some paragraph tag. So here you can see that it's showing me, initially it's showing me return value, and when our dashboard page will return some value, it will appear over here. But right now it's looking somewhat awkward because initially when we show this label, then it do not looks good. So let's discuss how we can get rid of this scenario. But first let's concentrate that how our return value looks like on a home page. So let's send. So on dashboard value is received, and now let's pass some value. Let's say Ionic tutorials. So here you can see I have received this value. So what if like I want to show this return value, this statement or this paragraph only when the value is received. So let's see how we can do that. So to achieve that, let's take the help of Angular 2.js, Angular 2's one directive which is called star ngif. So for that, I will declare one variable which is of type boolean, and it will be false by default. So is return equal to false by default. And I will use this variable over here, and I will use star ngif equal to is return. So if I save the page, so by default its value is false. So the ngif tag, the responsibility of ngif directive is that if the value of the variable is true, then only it will render that particular element on the HTML page, otherwise it will not. So here you can see that our initial or default return value text is gone because this is return variable is false. So what we will do is in home.ts, I will make it false by default, and when the message is arrived, I will make this value to true. So let's make it is return equal to true. So let's save it. Now let's see whether it works or not. Message 1 is arrived. Sample text message. Now let's click on send. Now here you can see that the message is arrived and it's visible. So we have learned that how to share data using NavParam and ModalController and ViewController. Now let's see how we can achieve the same functionality using provider. So to use the provider from a command prompt, we need to take the help of generate command. We need to generate the provider. So I'm going to terminate this serve command, and to add the provider, syntax is Ionic generate provider and provider name. So let's say my handler is the name of my provider. Oops, sorry, provider. Okay, it looks like provider is added to our code. So let's see where it is. So it has created one directory called provider, and in provider it has created my handler. So here it has imported some HTTP, so it's not of our use because we are not using internet or we are not doing any connectivity part. So I will clean the code a little bit. So in provider, let's create some properties or some methods. So I will call a few properties, and I will create their setters and getters. So let's create some variable, say sample value of type string. For this variable, I will create set sample value this dot sample value equal to data, Similarly, the getter, get sample value, and I will return this. Return this dot sample value. So we are done with that. Now we just have to use this provider as a dependency injection in our home page and dashboard, and rest of the thing will be handled by provider itself. So first let's make an entry of this provider in our module.ts. As we already know that whatever component we add in our application, we have to make the entry in app. So it looks like my handler is already added into module.ts. I don't know why it's not working with page, but for provider it has already created. So here you can see it has imported my handler provider, and it has made the entry of my provider over here also. But if you are using some older version of Ionic, then it might possible that these values are not present and you have to write them manually. So always remember that whatever a custom component or whatever a component you add after creating the project, you have to make the entry of those component into app.module.ts. Now we have to set some value from our home page, and we want to display that value on our dashboard and vice versa. So let's use this provider as a dependency, and let's import it in our different pages. So first let's import in our home page. So let's go to home.ts and import this this provider. So here you can see that it's giving me error because it's not find that handler, because we are looking or we are searching my handler from some other label. So we had to write some this dot slash, and if we save it, the error will go. Now here in constructor write some or declare some parameter with type of my handler provider. So I will write my handler colon my handler provider, and I will create another method, and I will create new button for this tutorial purpose. Show page, I will just call it show page, that's it. And in this page I will write this dot my handler dot, let's use some parameter. My handler dot set sample value. This is our setter value, and this is our getter. This is our setter property, and this is our getter property. So let's use set sample value property, and here let's pass message. So from home page we are setting the value in provider, and in dashboard we will read the value from provider, which is our my handler. So let's create another button. Let's give some line break. Send data to dashboard using provider, and the name of function was show page. So let's replace this show page and message to send. That's it. we have set the value, but we have not navigated yet to that page, so we can take the help of navigation controller this time. No need to use modal control, so let's use this dot NavController dot push and page name, which is dashboard page. Now let's write the receiver code. In home page we have write the sender code. Now on dashboard page let's write some receiver code. So we have to do that same exercise like importing the handler. So I will just copy this line, which will save our time. And in constructor also let's write this variable my handler. So in constructor you can call this my handler getter property, or you can use Ion ViewDidLoad method. So it will called when view is loaded completely in browser or your device. So I will call this dot my handler dot get sample value. That's it, and I will assign its value to this incoming message. This dot incoming message equal to this, and we are done. So let's write Ionic sub command again, because we have terminated it for adding the provider. Now let's see whether it works or not. Send data. So here you can see that the value is arrived, and you can do same over here. Like you can create another button, and you can on clicking of that button you can use the setter property of that provider, and on view did load or view did something on our home page, you can write the getter property, and this way you can achieve the functionality of sharing the data between different pages in your Angular application or your Ionic application. So that's it all for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos. Have a nice day. Bye bye.